If you traveled toward ancient Rome 2,000 years ago, you didn't see the city first. You smelled it, a thick choking cloud of stench hitting your nostrils 10 miles before you even saw the marble arches. On a hot summer afternoon with a gentle breeze, sailors out at sea reported smelling the city before making landfall. We often picture the ancient world as pristine marble temples and clean white toga robes. But behind that glorious facade lay a sensory nightmare that would make a modern human faint within seconds. Imagine over 1 million people crammed into just 5 square miles, with no modern plumbing, no trash collection, and no concept of body deodorant. So, how bad was the smell of the ancient world really? To understand the stench, you have to look at where waste went every single morning. While wealthy Romans had private latrines, over 90% of the population lived in crowded apartment buildings. These multi-story buildings had zero indoor plumbing. Every morning, hundreds of thousands of people emptied their heavy chamber pots directly out of upper-story windows, straight onto the unpaved dirt streets below. Roman law actually had a specific legal name for this crime: de effusis vel dejectus, damage caused by thrown liquid. If you were walking down a narrow alley to buy bread, getting drenched in human waste was an everyday hazard because the streets were unpaved dirt. The waste baked in the Mediterranean sun, turning alleys into stagnant, mud-like bogs. But human waste wasn't just left in the streets. It was actively collected as a valuable industry. In Rome, human urine was a prized commercial commodity used for washing clothes. Large clay pots called amphorae were placed on street corners for public use. Once full, clothes washers, known as phalones, collected the stale urine to wash wool garments. Urine contains ammonia, a powerful natural bleaching agent that breaks down grease and whitens fabric. Roman laundry workers spent all day standing bare-legged in large stone tubs filled with aged, fermenting urine, stomping on dirty togas to scour them clean. The smell around these laundry shops was so foul that emperors eventually tried to banish them to the outskirts of town. If you thought the laundromats smelled bad, the food production was even worse. The most popular condiment in the Roman world was garum, a pungent, salty sauce used on almost every meal. To make garum, fish intestines, gills, and blood were mixed with salt and left in open stone vats to rot in the scorching sun for up to 3 months. The resulting liquid was prized by elite chefs, but the stench of making it was legally declared a public nuisance. On top of food smells, open slaughterhouses lined the streets, draining animal blood directly into open gutters. And just outside the city walls lay the puticuli, massive open mass burial pits for the city's poorest citizens. Thousands of unburied bodies decayed in the open air, creating a stench that hung over the countryside for miles. So, how did 1 million people live inside this overwhelming wall of odor every single day? The human brain possesses a brilliant survival trait known as sensory adaptation, or olfactory fatigue. Within minutes of being exposed to a constant smell, your brain simply stops processing the signal. To an ancient Roman, the smell of rotting waste, stale urine, and burning incense was just the smell of home. Wealthy Romans tried to fight the odor by carrying small pouches filled with sweet-smelling dried lavender and myrrh. But for the average citizen, stench was a permanent tax paid for living in the greatest civilization on Earth. So the next time you step outside into a clean, paved city street, take a deep breath and be grateful for modern plumbing.